The Marla and Dave radio experience begins in 3, 2, 1.
Now, if you're ready, we will begin.
Welcome to the Marla and Dave radio show. This is reality radio with a couple that keeps it real. Current events, pop culture, music, relationship, fitness, the hot topics of the day. Marla and Dave Thomas. This is the Marla and Dave radio show. Real radio.
Welcome to the Marla and Dave show. Marla tries to race me, but she's unorganized as usual.
Listen.
So her computer's all loud. She's getting feedback. You name it. And she's picking food out of her teeth.
Listen.
There you go.
You know,
But welcome to the show.
it is true. It is true that I was completely unprepared for the attack. I did not get the victory today because my mic was over here.
Yeah, just not ready. Just not ready.
See what's happening here?
They can see, but they can't hear.
I know. That's the problem. How do I win if I can't be connected to all my senses at one time?
Yes, well, the real answer is you can't.
Well, not
And you didn't win.
Not today, Dave, but I'm going to be a winner in the long run, honey,
Okay,
because I
hey.
just keep on running. See what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, you keep running, that's for sure. Keep running.
Anyway, I am Marla, and he is Dave.
Duh.
Well, it's important, Dave, because last week I had a guest host.
Well,
Des.
I usually say you can usually see the cleavage that actually shows who's who, but today Marla is so covered up.
You know what? I had to do this because this is my...
That's a borderline burqa.
Listen.
Not that there's anything wrong with
This
the
is a penance outfit for last week when there was so much intense turn up from Love and Hip Hop
Yeah.
that
There
I was
a
thinking
lot
that
of estrogen in the room last
not
week.
just estrogen, just craze.
It was like restrogen, ratchet estrogen. How do you call that? Rastrogen. I don't.
That's
Something
about
like
right.
That.
I
Ratchetestrogen.
have to ask Tony something right quick. Tony, when we left the studio last week, did you have to burn sage? Did you
did.
have to give? Was there a ritual that took place here when
Sage
we?
and him, Sage.
Okay, well, let me just tell you this. For those of you who joined us last week, and for those of you who are new to the Marla and Dave Show, welcome to the Marla and Dave Show. It's always fun and interesting in the madhouse. Last week, my intention was to bring a bottle of champagne or Prosecco to celebrate Tony Sweet's birthday. And clearly, I only know all
Was the Prosecco for Tony or you?
Well, no,
Because
it was for everybody.
Oh,
but
okay.
the point was, we don't bring bottles and pop bottles in the studio. That's not what we do. And
It's
so
after we pop them after.
yeah. The bottom line is I was misinformed because I clearly only know the intimate details of one man. You should be happy. You're welcome, Dave.
Yes.
And I didn't realize
Little
that-
did you know, Tony was a teetotaler.
I had no idea.
Teetotaling Tony.
Right. But today.
Teetotaling Tony had a birthday.
With no further ado,
Aww.
this is something that Tony can enjoy.
Happy birthday, everybody,
no,
to
just
you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear teetotaling Tony. Happy birthday to you. Now, Tony, that's a very special birthday gift that we just gave you because that's a Susie cake cupcake.
He asked me, did he make it? I said, yeah, that's my nickname, Susie. They call me Susie
like
Cake.
A prostitute.
Yeah.
Yeah, hey.
I didn't need you to reveal that to the audience, Tony, but it's okay.
So, Marla, you went to the movies while I was out of town, like every day, twice a day.
Before I do that, though, Dave, we always talk about why we're here, and today we're here to deal with the movie project Rightful. Tony, can I have my mood song, please?
I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, just like the ones I used to know.
Look at that, Tony.
That's not my song.
Okay, Tony, thank you for playing. You got your order correct. You played my mood song first, and yes, living here, I remember back in the day before everybody was talking about the environmental changes and everything, Christmas used to be white. Now, here in L.A., it probably never was really snowing on Christmas, but I haven't seen snow on Christmas Day in quite some time. So that's why I played that song.
I have to
Plus, I did that arrangement. I wrote that arrangement, and I'm singing it.
That's
So
great.
it's my song for real.
That's great. Tony, I'm gonna have to shut the show down because for the first time it took you almost 2 years. What a year and a half, Tony, to change the order. It's not the damn show. It's the MaD show. And that's Marla and Dave. And I asked for a mood song and you play his. Okay, Tony.
Unity says one and one's no longer two. Yeah, look how far I've come.
Nice.
Coming from where I've come from. Girl,
You know what's so funny?
Girl, you got me.
David,
I like it.
I never knew you to, the last thing I would ever describe you as is narcissistic, but today all the music was about you, buddy.
Hey, I didn't pick it.
That's
I only
it.
picked half the music.
I'm just saying. Anyway, those are our mood songs, which usually, is something that strikes us about the show that inspires us to choose a song. And I say this to our guests because they're brand new, but they're not going to be strangers. Everybody who comes to the MaD eventually wants to come back because we love to have them back. So anyway, in the meantime, yes, I did go to the movie. Let me just talk about the one movie that of the trio of movies I saw that stuck out most, Spotlight. I did see Creed.
I thought you were about to say Creed.
The story of Creed is why I could not go down the road of and
Creed.
I know my black family is really for we have to say that because I do know that rarely do we get a movie that we can really just sink our teeth in and be proud of as far as everything about it because the acting was incredible. But the story, there just wasn't enough for me to give it the 9.5 ratings that I've been hearing.
Now,
and
for
10.
the record, I haven't seen it, but when anytime something gets hyped up that much, I'm going to be disappointed.
I gave it a 7. But I gave Spotlight a 10.
Wow. What was Spotlight about?
A 10. Your mic's off, but now say it one more time.
A 10?
A 10. Now turn it back off.
But what's the movie about? Right quick.
Spotlight is really is based on a true story of exposing
that's right.
the archdiocese really. But it was about this onslaught of priests in Boston.
Pedophilia.
And it was supposed to be 13 priests, and they started uncovering and unwinding and finding out it was like 90 in the city of Boston.
In the same city.
And then they took the story, and Spotlight is really about this particular crew of journalists that would really go deep in and spotlight a particular issue. And they took this on and ended up taking it all the way up as far as literally they had to bring the whole church down.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Shining
Turn it back up, Tony.
Shining the spotlight.
Yes,
So that's why it's called Spotlight?
Yes, we can trust them, Tony. We could leave their mics up. Yeah, because last week we had to do some mic control.
Yeah.
But you guys are good. Okay. Yeah, so that was Spotlight is a 10. Take some time, go out and see it for sure. Dave, where have you been?
Well, that's part of the reason why I played my mood song. I wrapped up all the touring for the year with this last week, and I'm home, and we started off in New York. We shot the album cover. We did some shows. Went down to Nashville, Nebraska, Omaha, Lincoln, Houston. Had a good time. Wrapped it up last night. We were in Chicago and a bunch of other places. But
so you did get to go somewhere where there could have possibly been some snow.
And you know what? It was raining.
Oh,
Instead of snow. In the middle of winter in Chicago, Illinois, it was raining.
I don't know how much more of a sign God has to send you.
Yeah, I'm not getting a white Christmas.
No, you're
it's
not,
going to
Dave.
happen.
White Christmases aren't in your future, buddy. Not at least right now.
Happen.
So anyway, yes, I got to stop for a minute and take this moment to thank. This is my year-end Marla thank you. For those of you who are always, complimenting my makeup, Brooke Cheevers is my personal makeup artist. She does my makeup every Monday. We call it MaD Makeup Monday, the Look by Brooke. So you can actually look her up on Instagram. And Lily Adele, who styled me all year, and I really started filming Love and Hip Hop Hollywood in April, and we ended in October. So Lily kept me right the entire time. She's got a boutique in Woodland Hills called LA, ELLA. So shop LA online on Instagram. Great trendy fashions, and really they at affordable prices. But something unique happened at Lily's holiday party this year.
What was it, Marla?
I'm going to tell you, Dave.
Oh, thanks.
I went to Lily's holiday party, and there was a selfie station.
What's a selfie station?
A selfie station. Well,
One might ask.
Well, that's funny, Dave, because I actually inquired myself because it was so much fun, and it's really a portable photo booth.
Huh.
And it's something that you guys, it helps capture memories. You can really turn your event into a red carpet event. And when I started asking, I found out that the selfie station can be a business that if you think that you can't afford your own business, think again. And
Now's the time. Now's the time. You won't believe how much people will pay you to make your business the life of their party. It's the easiest income you'll ever earn, and it pays for itself in no time at all. Here's how you can get started. Let Selfie Station be the picture taker, the icebreaker, and your money maker. And right now, as a special introductory offer,
you mean right now?
Right now, get $500 off the professional package. That's right, $500 off the professional package. Just go to Selfie Station Podcast. That's a big one. SelfieStationPodcast.com. Type in the name of our show, The MaD Show, and you can get credit, and you can get your $500 off, and you can get started with your own business right now. That's SelfieStationPodcast.com. I think it's on the screen.
I think we should require everybody to upload their first pictures to our personal. Okay, never mind.
But when they ask for the code, put the Marla, the MaD Show, the MaD Show, and you will get credit. You'll get going right away. You'll get started having fun and making money with your own business.
We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Marla and Dave radio show on the Universal Broadcast Network. Current events, pop culture, the hot topics of the day. It's time for MaD News on the Marla and Dave radio show. Ladies and gentlemen, Marla and Dave.
Okay, so you know what, right quick, our first news story always is an Are You Kidding Me? And it's kind of fun for me to be able to troll the news and find things that...
My stomach started growling when I saw this story.
This story, I named it myself, but it's called The Hungry Thief. There was a guy in, where was he? It was Czechoslovakia.
It's in Prague.
It was in Prague.
Yeah.
And he locked himself into a restaurant, and he ate...
He was going to town. Ducks, turkeys, foie gras, duck fat.
Pounds of food.
This cat was going in.
So, and Tony, can we turn their mics up for a minute? The question I have is, right quick, if you guys had to get locked in a business, would you want to, what, for me personally, put me in a bank. I want to be in the bank, in the vault.
Not only that, but after he was done, he was actually making a doggy bag. He had stuff to go. He had a six-pack of beer and some extra ducks and some extra food and everything. He had been there a while.
Yeah, I think a couple of days. Yeah,
I don't know if it was a couple of days, but overnight at least.
Well, I'm sure.
Because he was busted by the cleaning crew, someone in the cleaning crew the next morning.
That's, you know what?
Before he could actually leave.
This story isn't Are You Kidding Me, but it's kind of sad.
That's
a really
See,
hungry
that doesn't
man.
sound like somebody who is really that hungry and trying to take food back to the family, because he sounds like a chef.
Hungry Thief, if you can see me right now.
Stock his own restaurant.
I'll help you. You come, I have some food for you. You come see us. Just push in the code, MaD Food, and we'll hook you up, Hungry Thief. I'm
Hungry
sorry.
Thief, I need you to bring some of that other food that you just ripped from the other restaurant, and then we can make a trade.
Okay, in our He Said, She Said, which is always our celebrity news, it has happened, you guys, again. The Kardashians are expanding. They're like tribbles. You just add sperm and they just grow.
Gotta stop.
Well, the crazy thing is they revealed the name, and first of all, it took them 2 days to come up with this name.
Why?
That's kind of scary.
When
and
it was
the name is Saint West.
Saint West.
Saint West.
Northwest and Saint West.
Yeah.
I really need for another group of celebrity kids to ridicule these kids. I want them to follow them around like their own little paparazzi.
Say, Mommy, North, hit me,
Shut up, Saint.
Saint, really. But maybe it was because it's the Christmas season and it's so close, and
it's because they're crazy. That's why.
He was thinking of Saint Nick, Saint Jesus or whatever, and he said, "Hey,
Saint Jesus." They should have named their baby Jesus. Yeah. Anyway, and
goodness.
last but not least, we're going to agree to disagree on this one. I actually agree. There's an article that's 6 reasons to never get married. I confirm all 6.
Yeah, well, see,
I'm sorry, Dave.
It was
I'm leaving.
it was like a brain teaser, and at first I disagreed, but those were such bad reasons. Those are bad reasons to get married.
What do you think the
So
best
it was
reason
like
is, Dave, to get married?
To get married?
Okay, that's why
You love your friend.
That's why those 6
You
reasons
really,
are
you
valid.
really
Look
just
how long
can
it took
no
you.
longer. You can no longer be apart. You
Tony?
just need to
Turn off his mic. On with the show.
maintain a lifetime of relationships.
Kill his mic, Tony.
Anyway, that's the MaD news.
Back to the show.
This ain't your mama's radio show. Can you handle the truth? Then get ready for a real radio experience. Ladies and gentlemen, Marla and Dave.
Marla and Dave.
Yeah, 323-284-7826. We like to talk with you instead of talking at you. And we're in the studio with some pretty special guys.
We are. I'm really excited about today's show. When I actually heard about this particular movie project, I was geeked. I started kind of inquiring, and I used the word geeked because I was.
Because you are a geek.
It was that kind of thing. In my heart, I am. I want to be that. Anyway, and when I started to get the details of what this project is, and I'll give you a little history. In the studio, we are joined today by Stephen George and Andre Alpha.
How's it going?
Look at that. You guys have a crowd. You got your own little fan club already.
First time.
You like that? You say it's only the beginning.
I'll be honest with you. I need to get one of these for the house.
Anyway, so when welcoming you guys into the Madhouse today, and I'm just gonna let you guys know that this today is about a movie project by the name of Rightful. It's based on a true story about 2 black brothers who were wrongfully executed. And they were wrongfully executed and murdered over their property. Is that over people trying to steal their property? What's the backstory to the movie?
Pretty much. I mean, they were two black brothers in South Carolina in 1913. They owned a ton of farmland, most in the area. Right?
Stevie, can I interrupt right quick?
Yeah.
Were they black brothers, literally blood
Yeah,
brothers,
they
or were
were.
they just
Is that
bros?
a-
Hey, what's up,
No,
brother?
no.
What's up, brother?
Soft A or a hard R there?
Right.
The,
were they 2 niggas or were they what? That
Oh my goodness.
D.
Okay.
David in 1913.
Marla is out
Soft
to lunch.
A, hard R. What's the story? What? I didn't call you that. Anyway, go ahead, Steve.
My head shakes.
yeah, well, anyway, having that much land at that time in that area, you can imagine they were pretty big targets.
Right.
So the town leaders, in so many ways, basically screwed these guys over. And
What was the town again?
Blackstock, South Carolina.
Blackstock.
Yeah.
Blackstock.
That just
Blackstock.
sounds like slavery.
So
Blackstock.
So they went to trial, but it was a kangaroo court, and long story short, they were both electrocuted.
So wait, so in your research, it was okay as long as you had the papers to prove that you were free. You know, you could be a black person with that and be that much of a property owner back then.
That was probably the problem in the area. You know,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I mean that's it right there, nail on the head. I mean, it's these who gave these 2 black brothers the right to own this much property, and
Yeah.
the town saw it. Some of the town leaders saw it, took it upon themselves basically to say, you know what, this is out of control. They own too much land. They're too wealthy. We have an opportunity to take them down, but we're not going to do so without, profiting off them.
Yeah. Okay. Wow.
Get them for everything that they're worth, basically.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
so essentially, as you guys, I want to get into number one, what your roles are, who you are. Just as we want
Right.
to, the MaD family kind of want to get to know you personally.
Sure.
So I know that Stephen, you are a writer. So
Wrote this project. We've both been developing it and working on it for a couple of years now. And we're wearing a lot of hats right now because it is, it's a small project. It's a passion project.
Yeah, I mean, Steve and I go way back. So
long
we're
time. 20 years,
20
something
years.
like that.
wow.
Steve wrote
Wait,
this.
20 years? But you
20
guys
years.
So wait,
became
wait.
friends at like 10 or
I was
something
gonna
like
say
that?
for the MaD family, when you look at Steve's face, you have to admit that he looks like he just left the yearbook. Like he just took his senior picture like last week.
Hey,
buddy,
let's make a
I
movie.
wish.
And now he's like a grown man. This is like you're still like the Opie of like the Ron Howard.
Opie.
Oh, wow.
No,
Oh,
not that you look like that. I'm saying you're
Opie
young
Taylor.
because you're so talented. But now he's Ron Howard. But back then,
Right.
Because you're such a baby face. You're like a little infant. Like I just want to,
Just pinch.
just like squeeze.
Slap,
Like
slap your face. Slap your face again. Man. Slap your face again. Right.
so writing has been your passion. Was it always about film or?
Predominantly, yeah. I mean, we've done a couple TV pilots, but for the most part, I mean, film is where it's at for us. So it just, I don't know, it's more fun medium, I think. But these days, TV, and when you're looking at stuff like HBO and Showtime, I mean, you can really, it's kind of sky's the limit with those places.
Right.
You know,
The
when you're
lines are
looking
kind of blurred between film and
yeah,
television.
I mean, Game of Thrones
cable.
projects like that, they're almost 13-hour movies during the
Yeah.
season. So it kind of opens you up to be
One
able
of
to
my
do
favorites at
better
that,
stuff.
Game of Thrones.
Good
You
show.
know, and
Good
I can
show.
never get. Anyway, do you watch Game of Thrones, Tony? No.
Anyway,
Tony-
back
Tony's
to the
giving me-
point. So, are you both writers?
So Steve wrote this. I'm directing it, but we like Steve was saying earlier, we both developed it together. We both came across the story when we were together. It's really our baby, I think. And then, but Steve's definitely Steve's the writer, and we work closely to get it to this point. And the best part about him being the writer and me being the director is that we're, it's two halves of the same brain.
So and we've got people in the chat room and they're asking about the volume being a little low. So just make sure when you speak you bring your mics up because they want to hear what you guys have to say.
Noted.
But Andre, I have a side question for you because Marla and I we're avid movie watchers.
Shoot.
And we go to the movies all the time. And we used to argue all the time when a movie was bad. I always said she would say this is a bad actor or whatever. I say it has to be a bad director. Because you don't have to say and cut. We've got it. Scene. We just nailed it. If it's bad, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, 100% agree with you.
But
Can also be a bad script.
I would finish that because I'm gonna.
Yeah.
tag
So
that.
as a director, I have to say that I agree. I mean, you look at a movie, it's bad, and you should blame the director if if he's the one steering the ship.
Yeah.
I mean,
would
he needs a
think.
good
Even if
crew.
the actor's not good, you got to give him some direction. I would think.
It's your job to make that actor act and do and give you what you're trying to get out of them. At the end of the day, I mean, actors are really all they're doing in front of the camera every single time you go watch a movie is they're emotionally disrobing themselves. In order for them to do a good job and make it seductive and alluring and compelling, they have to trust you. If they don't trust you, you're not going to get a good performance.
But how much of that has to do? Sometimes I look at movies, and this is just piggybacking on what you were saying, Dave, and I feel like that I watch a movie, and I feel like budget got involved. For example, like we intended for the film to look like this, but we couldn't keep. It
the
cost
actor was
money
so
to
bad
keep saying,
that I had to finally
or
say
to scrap, or you
scene
can't keep
because
saying
this
cut.
is like 17
Okay,
days
cut.
with this one scene.
Okay, cut. Like, okay, look, I've been cutting you now for 13 weeks. We're not getting this. Like, in other words, go ahead.
Yeah, no, budget's always going to it's money. Money's always important. It's always got a role to play. But at the end of the day, it's not how much money is being spent. It's how that money is being spent.
Right.
Now, Stevie, you also said that it could be a bad script that impacts that point.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if the story's not there to begin with, you got nothing to direct, and if the lines aren't on the page, if there's no substance there, then no matter how good an actor is, if they have nothing to say, it's not going to come off.
Unless you're Jim Carrey and Ace.
You know what? That's funny.
Comedy's
That's the
a
one
different
person
story.
I was thinking
Comedy's a
about.
different story.
Unless you're Jim Carrey and Ace Ventura, then you can do that. But yeah, unless you're that person, no, I agree.
Right.
Okay,
Well, okay.
okay.
So now I want to move us on with this particular
More specific about this
process.
story.
Yeah, about this story. So how did you find this story? What about this story for you in particular was, as you both explored the story, was the most, and I want to hear separately from each, was the most shocking thing about this story? So you're reading this, and clearly it inspired you enough to start like developing, writing, getting into pre-production on a project. So why?
Well, just for starters, the wrongful execution in and of itself. I mean, that's what we were researching when we found these guys, and so then we found them, and it's history is often more interesting than fiction, and so just the nature of the story, and that these two were that they had this land in South Carolina at that time period, and it's so I don't know. It struck a nerve that the racial component, a lot of it.
Yeah,
it
resonated, I think.
Yeah,
especially I guess these days,
Well,
with all
but-
the racial tension
Right.
that we're dealing with right now.
Linwood 2 days ago,
Yeah.
3 days ago.
Yeah.
Amazing, yeah.
So that's interesting because I know that a lot of people are going to ask, because you are Caucasian.
What?
But
Us? Get out of here. Are you serious? There's no
so-
mirrors in here, so I don't know. I can't tell.
clearly somebody's related to Rachel.
Or Tony.
No, the lady who.
Oh, that's right, Dolezal.
Dolezal. Yeah.
Oh,
Rachel's brother in the studio over there. Don't tell him. Don't tell him. Yeah, no, you're cool, brother. You're good.
Brother?
No, that's a question. I think that's a question I have always. So you're Caucasian men, or what? Let's just call you other than black. Let's
white
check
boys,
the other.
White boys
Yeah,
is fine if you want to. I mean, don't take offense.
I don't think that's a category on the government
It
forms
is.
other than black.
Have you ever turned your paper over?
No.
Yeah, I write on the back
Non-Hispanic.
side. Yeah, I write on the back side. He said not. Yeah, I just flip it over. I don't do the box. Anyway, so that's a question that I would ask because, and not just, I'm asking it to you guys, but I'm also talking to our audience as well. It's an intriguing thing to me always that something can strike, because even Steve said it struck a chord, struck a nerve. So when you're talking about that, is it about, does it become like writing the cause for yourselves, or is it really about, is there a white guilt that you have where you decide, oh, I'm gonna go and let me do this.
Is that a thing?
If you're
Sure.
yeah, I think so.
White guilt is a thing?
I think religiously, white guilt's a big thing. Right, Steve? Because
like
Now he's turning to So Steve,
Irish
you're
Catholic guilt. sort of
Irish
thing.
Catholic
Yeah,
guilt,
It's just
that's a-
installed from birth.
Oh,
Basically.
okay. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah.
well, I mean, because if we look back historically, when you talk about a civil rights movement, it wasn't just black people. It was literally to right the wrongs that were being done civilly to a black community. But white people marched. There were those who fell out of the line or the ranks of the majority and joined the minority in this fight for freedom.
right. So I mean, sorry. So I think I think it's at the end of the day, it's being on the right or the wrong side of history. That's why you have whites, that marched during the civil rights movement. That's why you have men that marched during suffrage. I mean, it has nothing to do with whether it's women, blacks, whites. I think at the end of the day is what side are you on and what side do you want to be on in history? And so if most recently, for example, in the last 30 years, we've seen a huge shift, in the LGBT, movement across the country and across the world. And I think it's part of the same thing. It's on what side of history do you want to be on? There's the right side and there's a wrong side. At least, yeah, I mean, that's how I see it. There's no kind of in between. You're either for it or against it.
Yeah.
So for us, that's really what resonated with these two brothers.
Yeah, I don't think you need to have a feeling of guilt to know what's right at the
Right.
end of the day and want to be forwarding that.
Right.
Okay, well, I have another question that it might require. How much of the plot of the story can you actually relate to us right now?
By the way, somebody in the chat room is classifying you as vanilla. Just want to say that.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So how much of the plot can you tell us about the story? You know what I'm saying? Because so these guys get educated. What setting does that happen in the story?
Well, for the most part, it is modern day. I mean,
Okay.
we do tell the historical part of the story early on in the script, but then we bring it to modern day. Basically, these two brothers come back 100 years later today.
Oh, they're ghosts.
In a sense.
Okay.
To right the wrongs that were done against them and ultimately, make right what was done wrong.
And this goes back to what Marla was saying earlier with what resonated with us was, what if, right? So what if 100 years ago your ancestors were wronged and now 100 years later you have the opportunity to atone for those sins? What would you do?
Well, let me help it be a little bit clearer for Dave. Dave,
Yes.
what if
Yes.
100 years ago someone broke into your family's storehouse and stole all of the veggie meat, took it away,
we'd be angry.
you had no more
Growl.
Big Franks.
Growl. It would be something akin to someone breaking into your house and stealing the raccoons. Okay, so somebody stole the raccoon meat, Mama.
Okay. You see what happens in my house, Steve? This is not right.
Lord, you set yourself up for that one.
Anyway, but let me say this: it's true because for me, my family grew up. Let me say this about my immediate family. My mother went to school in Huntsville, Alabama, and in my generation, she was not allowed to. There were still white fountains, black fountains, white bathrooms, black bathrooms. She peed on the floor at a Woolworth years ago because they said sorry.
You can't use the bathroom.
You can't use the bathroom, and the other bathroom closed early. So she said to her friend on the count of 3, and the floor was slanted. They had on these big bloomy dresses, and so they just stood there and peed and let the pee pool down to the register and said, if you don't want to let us use the bathroom, I guess you have to clean it up, and walked out. But that was, so what I'm saying to you is these things, what Andre's talking about is real. What if you could go back, all of us get mad at certain treatment, which is why, again, as African American people, most of the time, there's always a running conversation going that says, I wish somebody would try and make me a slave, or I wish, you're not gonna, if I could, let me get a hold of them. So what if you could go back? What would be the thing? What would really cause you to seek revenge for an atrocity? I can only imagine that. To me, some of the is it Emmett Till, the guy who was the guy who got Yeah. Okay, see, to me, everybody involved with that, I'm gonna have to slash. I gotta slash. If I'm family, you can't let that go.
Right. So let me ask a question more specifically about the writing process. When you're coming up with a story like this and you say, what if? So you have, a story based in history. Let's actually say we're going to put the movie in modern times. Right. So which pretty much means that, that kind of dictates that they're going to come back as in some kind of way. Do you actually start, because I know in music, one of the things that we say, you start with a broad to more specific approach to actually the writing process. And when we come back, I want you to answer the question, did you decide what kind of genre this is going to be? It's going to be a romantic comedy or whatever, that kind of thing?
Sure.
So keep that in mind. We shall be right back. We're talking to the creators of Rightful, the movie.
Hey guys, listen up. Learn something. 26 years of marriage from 2 unique perspectives equals 52 years of relationship experience. It's time for Ask Marla and Dave. Answers to your questions about life, love, and relationship based on Marla and Dave's real life experience. It's about to get real. Ask Marla and Dave.
Okay, so this is the Ask Marla and Dave feature of the show, part of the show. We always say, if you don't ask, we can't tell. But more specifically, if you write in and fill out the questionnaire at www.marlandave.com for Ask Marla and Dave, we will specifically answer your question on air during this part of the show. So this question seems to be for me, Marla.
Yeah, I'm good. Right, I'll read it, Dave. It says, this one is for Dave. Bro, I'm in bro tone now. Bro. My wife loves the natural look, not just on her head, and insists on growing out all of her body hair, armpits included. Don't get me wrong, I'm still attracted to her, but sexually put off by Rasta pubes and Afro pits.
Rasta pubes?
And Afro pits.
Okay.
Okay, and it's seriously though, bro, it's for you. I'm looking for a way to ask her to shave or wax without hurting her feelings. I watch your show and like the way you communicate with Marla. This is a sensitive subject in our relationship. Can you help?
Yeah. This is pretty sensitive because my first suggestion would be to go back and get some 70s porn and actually get used to it. But no, I'm just joking.
What, do you think that,
I'm just joking.
Think that it was in the 70s? You think that the whole, you think there was a bunch of puffs back in the day? Is that you think?
I actually think...
people...
As time went on,
you just dated it.
That
like in the 70s.
That became a thing to actually start, getting rid of your body hair. That wasn't always a thing.
We need a Tony Sweet to be a person who does some research for us.
Anyway,
and finds out exactly when waxing started.
I know for a fact that wasn't always a thing. And if that's your wife's preference, if you love your wife, I would assume that you could find a loving way to sort of, say, hey, can we try something else? But at the same time, you don't want to push your partner beyond something that they don't want to do.
I would make it a competition. I'd say same time. If you do this, I'll do this. Let's play a game. Like same time. Like, it's like a barter. Like a little fun barter thing they can do.
Here's what you can do.
There's a reason she doesn't want to do it.
When you're going down there, you can start braiding it down into cornrows, and so it's no longer as puffy as it used to be. It's kind of laying a little flatter, and that's one time. Then the next week, you can actually go down with some relaxer. And see what happens as things go on.
I almost spit because Tony Sweet's face right now needs to be starting to eat the cupcake.
No. I guess here's the main thing that I want to say. Make sure as you approach the discussion, you're not trying to force somebody to do something simply because you like it. Make sure that she wants to do something to please you. And if that's okay and she's amicable to that, then go ahead. If not, I think you might need to get used to it. If it's a stickler for her.
I think what you said earlier, if two people mutually love each other, encouraging her to try something new that, and not about, don't make the request about what you like. Just make the request about, it might be, fun to, go bald one time. It's hair. It'll grow back. That's what I would just do something.
Someone in the chat room said waxing started as far back as 30,000 BC.
Oh, shut up.
Anyway, that's Ask Marla and Dave. Again, I hope that's helpful to you, buddy. And let's get right back and let us know what happened with your discussion. Back to the show.
Welcome back to the Marla and Dave radio show. Marla and Dave want to talk to you. Phone lines are open at 323-284-7826. 323-284-7826.
So I asked this question on the Instagram before we came, and I want to encourage our audience as well to call in and answer this question. And I was asking this question as well to the two of you. What offense would someone have to do to you or your family for you to seek revenge? So I want you to think about that. There's a blank to that. Someone would have to blank for me. I would have to get revenge. So what would that thing be to either you or your family? So you guys consider that. I want you to consider it. Call in. The show's live, 323-284-7826. We would love to talk to you, get your thoughts, and just have you share a conversation with us.
Well, right before we get back to that specific question or get to that question that Marla asked, and then she's laughing at something in the chat room. We're going to get to that in a minute. But I was asking Stevie, I know when I'm writing an arrangement, one of the things that we do is we say we're going to go from a broad to specific. Sure. We're going to get the big idea and kind of narrow it down into the actual thing that we end up with, the finished product. So is that the same thing when you're writing a script?
It varies project to project, but this one kind of in a general story sense, the very broad strokes, kind of wrote itself. I mean, It was just too perfect to have the situation, and these guys want to come back and do what was necessary to get their land back. As far as the subplots and the other characters that we brought in the more modern story, I mean, we started getting more specific and narrowing things down at that point. But
how long?
The kind of thing that I'm asking about, excuse me one sec, Marla, is this like a horror flick? Is it a comedy? Is it a?
It's on the darker side.
Okay,
it's definitely on the darker side. Yeah,
nice.
I think by its very nature, it's on the dark side. But you're gonna have to wait for that one. For the answer to that one.
Nice. A cliffhanger.
The whole movie. Let me just tell you, I'm interested. I was interested right away in this particular project because of that. Because again, these are things that, that question I just asked.
It's still going on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a question, and that's kind of where we are today in this particular climate. So piggybacking on what Dave said, though, how long generally, when you started this, what is the process for you to actually start? You find something. How did you actually find it, and what's the process of like the writing? Because let me say this to all the people listening: I'm a creator. and not that I do the same thing that Stephen does, but as a creator, you're always creating so many different things. So I'm sure other things have come in. There's only one ultimately that grips and sticks. So from the inception, how long ago did you actually find this story and then continue to work on it?
Well, Steve, correct me if I'm wrong. I think that it's very much like for us, this was a story that it just had to be told. Like there was no, sometimes when you're so moved that it just, the story wrote itself. It was, I think it took, what did it take you, 6 months to write it?
I don't even know if it took us that long. He and I have a really unique process. I mean, we've known each other for so long and know who has their areas that, they're better at than the other one.
Right.
We're able to check our egos at the door. And so,
if you check your ego at the door right there, you're shaving 6 months off your process.
Right. So we found it, I think, 3 years ago. And then it took us, we go back and forth and we whittle away and we throw ideas at one another and see which one we both agree on and then just kind of, form it almost like a sculpture, if you will, this big thing, and we keep narrowing down and then adding some more stuff on there and then.
But it's definitely not something that sometimes, and I'm as artists, you feel like, when you're forcing something.
Oh, for sure.
Right.
And that never happened with us. Like on this story with Steve, when he was writing it, there was never that. That even the moment there, writer's block, things like that, but may have come up. But as far as forcing an issue, the story just wrote itself.
Right.
So as a result, it just flowed very naturally, and before you knew it, it was done. And it was revision in the revision phase.
And so and now we're here, and we're in a state right now where this issue. The root of this story is what we're living out every single solitary day.
Right.
Literally on the streets.
Illinois, everywhere in New York, all around the country. It's just
and and it's not even, and now it's beyond, it's really about right and wrong.
Right.
And so many things to me are clouded about that. And this is a good opportunity, when you guys talk about rightful and something clearly being proven. Has it been proven that these guys, did somebody take the time to actually prove that they were completely innocent?
You're gonna.
Is that another one I have to wait
you're gonna
for?
have this. Honestly, that's the thing. There are so many, like literally out the gate. There are it's one twist after the next.
Okay.
It's one. It's a hell of a ride, and that's really part of it. So
So I can get with that. So let's talk about what is proven. And some of the issues that we're facing now, because again, my conversation now is about right and wrong. And I personally, and you can slay me if you like, but the situation that happened in Baltimore, I disagree with the indictment of the officers and I forgot the young man's name, but he died in custody.
Freddie Gray.
Freddie Gray. I have a problem with that. And the reason I have a problem with that is because it's unfortunate, but when there is criminal behavior, and you are accused of a crime, how many thousands of perpetrators had been picked up and transported in that very same manner? Matter of fact, there was a dude in the very same transport van in another compartment. He didn't die. So what I'm really saying to you is that really mistreatment? And what is the responsibility that we have as a community to actually, you got picked up as a criminal. So there's a right and wrong, and what I'm saying, Dave, don't do that, because to me, let's compare Freddie Gray and let's compare Trayvon Martin. Trayvon Martin was hunted like an animal. He had not committed any crime. He had no weapon. Nothing was going on there, and the dude took it upon himself, Zimmerman, to literally go down different paths because he looked suspicious, and shoot him and kill him like hunting deer.
Well, at the risk of being so far off the topic that we're discussing
I know.
today,
I'm going to avenge Trayvon is what I'm saying. But I'm not going to avenge
A
Freddie
lot of
Gray.
times, we can think that we would like things to be a certain way, but there is a legal process that everybody has a right to. And if that gets circumvented in any way, then it's wrong. Now, whether or not we think that the person is a really bad guy, or whether he's not that bad of a guy, or it's not that deep, you have a right to due process, at least in this country.
Unless I wholeheartedly agree, and until they're dead. And that's the
Right.
thing, is it gets to the point where a lot of these cases, they're being riddled with bullets and shot, and they die. And
Yeah, it's just an overreaction.
Right,
It's
which is-
exactly, it's an overreaction. It's
Which
not
is
disproportionate
similar to, I
reaction.
guess, what you were telling us about this particular story. They kind of wanted to go out and they had it in for these guys.
That's exactly
and
right.
they actually figured out a way that they can, just take what they had and take it for themselves.
Right, that's exactly
Viv in the chat room says historically this type of scenario was repeated to steal farmland from black people. And what's even more interesting is
Now, did you find that out? That this happened more than once? This
Right.
type of thing?
So yeah,
This is
absolutely.
a trend?
That's the thing. That's what's troubling is she's right. It wasn't a one-time thing. It used to happen all the time because it was abuse. That's all it was.
which is ironically you would a lot of people didn't even realize that black people were landowners. And as a matter of fact,
Right.
I have family that owned what is now the Chesapeake Bay.
Wow.
And that land was given up, and because of something that happened on my mother's side, and my dad tried to get her to buy it, and it was in the family, and they let it go to whatever. But the bottom line is that was in our family, so there was from back in the day. So I'm just saying that my thing is when we talk about avenging and being responsible. And which is what you were saying, that's off topic, and I don't even think so. I mean, what are we getting mad about? That's the conversation I'm having now, just as community of African American people. What are we getting mad at, and where is our responsibility? Do you go back? You first have to prove that there's a problem, and then, there's something. I can't just, these guys were wrongfully executed, so they want to right the wrongs by coming back and saying, whatever, however that's going to play out, that's emotional for me because I would want that. And which is why I say I'm not discounting anyone who passed away. That's unfortunate, but I would want to avenge a Trayvon Martin. I would join that cause because I feel like it was proven that this kid was hunted down. His life was taken for absolutely no cause. So that's a whole nother conversation.
I see the connection there. In the chat room, someone was asking, have you already casted the movie? Has it been cast? And are you using or do you plan to use well-known actors and actresses, or do they even say
Do you
actresses
see Dave?
anymore?
Does
Or
Dave
just
look at all
actors?
guys like a slasher?
And
Do you see Dave slashing?
or are you going to use brand new up-and-coming actors?
A little bit of both. So a lot of both, actually. So we are in the process of casting. We actually have, if you want to find out a little bit more, you can go online. You can go to Indiegogo.com and you can look up the movie Rightful and gets a little bit more information there, where you will see that not only are we still in the development process, the production process of looking for the right people to work on this. Not only in terms of crew, like special effects artists, but also in terms of actors. So yes, we're very, very much in the process of casting, and we're looking at both. We're looking at everybody. Just it doesn't matter if you're, if you've got name recognition. If you don't, it's really all about what makes the most sense for this movie and what.
Who's going to be able to tell your story?
Exactly, and having that, having you connect with it. If you connect with it and you're moved by it and you're passionate about the story like we are, we want you on board.
Well, here's interesting question. One of the guys in my group is always, taking videos with his iPhone. And then one day he just admitted that he really wanted to be to make movies. Do you need to go to film school to be a director or to do the things that you guys are doing? Do you need to have formal training, or can you just?
I think we can both answer this together with a resounding no.
No, not at all.
No.
Okay.
So
how do you get the skills then? How do you get the skill set?
Watch a lot of movies. Start working. Get your hands dirty.
Yeah.
We
get your foot in the door.
We started interning when we were at Pepperdine.
Yeah, you got to work. You got to get out there. You got to put yourself out there. You got to work. Don't say no. Don't say no to any job that comes your way at first. Get your foot in the door. Take the work where you can find it, and leave
Wasn't that a Jim Carrey
your
movie?
ego at the door.
He says yes. Just
Yes, man.
Yes.
Yes, man.
Right. Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
just a little history.
So someone there now. A bunch of questions are coming up. So Sandra's asking: is this a movie that you're creating for the big screen or for television, or does it matter right now? Is that part of the thought process?
That's a very good question. So right now we're keeping all our avenues open. It's really more. We're focusing more on the project itself creatively, and we're going to determine basically which avenue is the best one when we get to that point. Right now, everything's open. You could see it on the big screen. You definitely, VOD, DVD release. Is it going to be limited or not? All those kinds of questions. Right now, we're just leaving everything open.
And now someone is asking: do you guys have a specific casting company that you usually work with?
Rightful Incorporated right here. I mean, we've been meeting with some actors right now on a very kind of informal get to know you basis, and just seeing who's really going to be into the project right now from a passion standpoint, and then this guy will.
I love that,
Yeah.
and the reason I love that is because I feel like that you're so connected to this project that who better to be able to at least get a feel for someone who can meet what you see initially than the two of you. Like, in other words,
Right.
so many people, turn over these legs right away. And I understand, big budget. But to be totally honest with you, the coolest part for me is the best feeling I have is to have no buzz on a movie. Know nothing about it. And I used to do this on a regular and just go to the movies and see something that was an indie film and be blown away. Like, oh my God, there's probably
Right.
I've done more repeat views on indie films than any other. But then, ironically, the ones I would pick turned out to be like
They became blockbusters over time.
They became they started off
kinda
with like
independent and kinda got-
limited release, and the next thing you know, they were everywhere. So and so it's kind of, and I feel the opposite. I usually feel very disappointed when, like Dave said, there's a lot of hype, and there's the summer blockbuster, and you get to the movie and you're like, okay, for real. I felt like that way about the last Mission Impossible, the last two.
The
I'm like,
franchise is kinda-
it was like, really? Anytime, don't insult my intelligence. This is a sidebar, and say you have a spy movie, and they go, but he's a spy. I'm like, you have to announce that? Really?
Now-
You just ruined it for me.
Now, everybody in the chat room, you can actually call in 323-284-7826 because the questions are starting to really pick up. Also about the sort of the film festival process. Where does that fit in? I mean, there's Tribeca, the Sundance, Aspen, and there's and pretty much every neighborhood has a film festival, really.
Absolutely, right. I mean, every weekend all over the world, multiple film festivals. So it's, I mean, there are books this thick that will tell you, all the film festivals going on, and then how to enter those as well. So, I mean, that's a little ways ahead, but we'll be getting into that process. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's looking down, further down the road right now. Just to answer that question, it's to go back to the casting process. It's really, it's just we're never going to just look at one company like a lot of people do and just have them take over that. So we're going to have keep as long as possible all our avenues open so that we can meet with everybody, accordingly, and not just pass that baton,
Right. And that's what I want to ask you guys when we come back from this next break. How much control, if all things added up, would you like to keep of this project from the beginning to the end? We're going to talk about that when we come back.
It's time for the Marla and Dave Doghouse. Marla has something that should put Dave in the doghouse. Dave has something that should put Marla in the doghouse. You decide who gets a biscuit and who gets busted and ends up in the doghouse.
Go ahead, Dave.
All right, so
Go ahead, tell them what I did.
This is the segment
Just tell
where,
it.
like you've heard, one of us is going in the doghouse and one of us is getting the biscuit because we were treated unfairly. So last night, yesterday I was texting Marla, and Marla says, what time you're coming home? This is our normal routine. I tell her what time I'm coming home, and I
It's
said,
too early, Dave. Sorry.
And I said, well, whether or not I even offered, I said, hey, I can just take the flyaway.
Steven,
Marla says,
it was
no,
too
no, I'm going to come get you. So I wake up this morning and I'm like, wait a minute, why am I getting a text from Marla? It's like 4 o'clock in the morning, 4:30 in the morning.
It was too early.
In Houston. And Marla's texting me saying, yeah, just go ahead and take the flyway. I can't come get you. I'm too tired.
Why do I have to sound like that? It was a text.
You know,
Why does my voice
my
sound
phone
like that?
was smirking. It kind of, here's my phone. It was kind of bent over and twisted a little bit because I can see Marla's lips like this. So she said she was not going to come get me, and I ended up. It was actually cold this morning when I got to LAX, and I
you had
sat
to
out
stand
there
outside?
for about 30 minutes waiting for the
Oh,
flyway.
poor
Because it's
baby.
kind of in between. Between the hours of 6
Oh.
and 9, I think the flyway comes every 15 minutes. After that, you're kind of on your own, and it comes like once an hour.
This doghouse
something
is like,
that.
I know I'm going in it, so you see that I'm letting you just do the builder blocks. Just go
Yeah,
ahead.
so anyway,
What else you
that's
wanna
why
talk
I
about?
think Marla goes in the doghouse because she promised to come get me, and she was like, forget it, I'm too sleepy.
The only defense I have is that if you guys, you can really diminish Dave's doghouse plea because you see that he went from needing a ride to needing a ride, standing outside naked, waiting on the flyway for an hour. He just went into a whole thing. I call that whining. What
and
I'm really
someone
saying
tried
is,
to take advantage of my nakedness on the sidewalk. No, and then she was late coming to the flyway. I
dude.
was waiting at the flyway for another
5
15 minutes.
Listen. What I just did was create more strength of your character. You're welcome.
Bionic.
Yes, that's love for you right
All right,
there.
so what's your pitch?
I'm walking in the doghouse because
Oh,
I'll just
Marla's
go ahead.
going straight
Let me-
in the
Wait,
doghouse.
let me finish this. Let me just add
Tony.
on. And then he came home
Oh,
and he
my
had to clean
goodness.
up. How about that? Then I got him home 5 minutes late, and he actually had to clean the bathroom all by himself.
Yeah, I wasn't going to go in that
That's
bathroom.
okay.
I wasn't going. I had this I can't.
I just
do
let
it.
him do it. I
can't do
watched
it.
him come up with his pail and his tools, and I said, "Good for you, Dave. Go." So there you go. Now shut the door on the doghouse. Goodbye, Ruth. I'm out. Peace. On to the show.
What's the action?
You'll laugh. You'll learn. You'll learn. You'll get mad. Shut up. You'll get happy. But you won't be bored. This is the Marla and Dave radio show on the Universal Broadcast Network.
That is definitely a first. Marla goes in the doghouse
Ladies and gentlemen,
shuts the door and won't even let me come stick my head in and give her some food.
Let me talk to my girls. You see how I did that? You just own up to it. You just shut them down. You don't need to go back and forth. You see that? I was whack.
And
Goodbye.
no, Hey Ray. Hey Ray said Marla probably didn't even give him any food either. No, she didn't.
I sure didn't.
No, she
I
didn't.
didn't feed him a dang thing.
She
So
dropped
now
me
what does that
off.
say?
She dropped me off, and she was already late getting the document to Tony. I was trying to make
Are
excuses
you still
for Tony.
trying to add
Tony, you
on
see
to-
how I was making excuses? Yeah, it's me, Tony. No, it's not really Marla. It's me. But no, I didn't have the document, man. I'm sorry. I'm sorry on Marla's behalf. Anyway, Tony, she can go in your doghouse too. I'm sorry.
Tony, I'll let you in the doghouse with me. Fellas, mine is actually a doghouse. It's a penthouse. So if you guys want to come by,
Sandra
we can
Hawkins
watch a
says
movie.
you for this it was so bad you're going in the doghouse next week as well. Thank you.
Look, Sandra, can I just tell you guys something? No one knows what it's like. 27 years of marriage adds up to 1,562,000 airport runs
And
in our world.
And Nicole Harris said she's a mean one. Marla
Mrs. Grinch.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't doing it. Here's what I realized. When I looked up, first of all, the reason he got a text at 3 o'clock in the morning, I had fallen asleep on the couch. And when I woke up to take myself to bed, smaller, the guitar, the violin, there you go. Make it smaller. When I woke up, I realized this is foolish for me to try to inconvenience myself. It's about me. When he's going to be going against, traffic will be flowing coming out of LAX going to the Valley. I have to be stuck in traffic. That airport ride that's 45 minutes would have taken me 2 hours and 30 minutes at that time in the morning. So
you justified it.
I said yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Wow,
Andre.
Andre, that's
exactly what I did.
spoken like a true director. He gets
Yes.
straight to the point.
Andre, can you judge the
Isolate.
sincerity in my performance? How about this? Hell yes. That's exactly what I did. Andre, I justified it. How's that for acting? But I'm
Academy
real.
Award.
I got an award.
Somebody give her the Oscar right there.
So, and Nicole says she thought I was your best friend. I guess not. But
Well,
anyway,
I didn't pick anybody else up either, so you're still at the top. You're top of the heap, baby.
Okay,
You're there.
I'm the most liked one who's been ignored. Anyway, so back to the questions in the chat room. Hey Ray is saying, did either of you guys do theater work in high school?
No, for me.
Very
Actually, what am
little.
I saying? That's a lie. Shit, that memory just came back.
You did theater?
Apparently, yeah. I totally forgot about it till right
Apparently?
now. I did do theater.
To be.
I did. Apparently, I was in 3 plays. I totally forgot about that until right now. Thank
Wow.
you. What is? What was that person's name?
Hey Ray.
Hey Ray, thank you very much for bringing those memories back. I really appreciate that.
Did you? So you clearly that was a bad time in your life.
No, actually, it was really good. People tell me I had a great childhood.
Why was it a suppressed memory? Do you want to?
Now, were you what role did you play? Were you just an actor in the play? Were you directing the play?
Was not directing. So Anne of Green Gables, I played her uncle, Anne's uncle. James and the Giant Peach, I think I
played the
was-
Peach. No, I'm just joking.
I think I was an animal. I don't remember which one. And then in one of the religious plays, I think I played in one of the Israelites.
Okay.
I didn't know
Steve?
James and the Giant Peach had been brought to the theater.
Well, it did in my middle school.
That's hilarious. He's like, you don't know me. You don't know my struggles.
Come on.
So I asked you guys before we went to the break, how much control in a perfect world would you like to have? Would you actually love to have with this project?
He's the director.
All of it, like in other words, because of course when the film, when you in this process, people jump in sometimes if you were to be taken by a major, if this project were to be picked up by a major.
Yeah, I think anybody that says 100% control is, even if you get that, do you really want that? So for me, it's something where, I'm open to having those conversations. Because, no, I don't necessarily want 100% control if you are going to make my movie better, you are going to expose it, you are going to do things to it that I can't do to it.
The power to exploit might overcome the
Right.
need to have control. Yeah.
Very, very well said. That's exactly right.
So is it hard for you guys to, because of the nature of what this is it hard for you to tell the story when you're writing? Is it from both sides? Like, in other words, you're clearly very fair. You're not prejudiced guys at all, period. But I'm sure there's an element of all of this stuff. So I think at that, and even if I had to ask you the question, if I sent you back in time and you were living in those times, like, what would be some of the things, if you could take back the information that you know now?
I guess it's part of the question for you, Steve. Is that part of the process that you?
How do you write hate?
Immerse yourself into the emotionality of the moment.
Can you write asshole if you're not one?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, you have to maybe sometimes. Yeah, people do it different ways. Maybe you meditate, or I know Aaron Sorkin stands at a mirror and does dialogue to himself back and forth.
What's your process? I don't know this part about you. Do you stand in front of a mirror?
I strip naked
Are
in
you
front of
nude?
the mirror.
Steve, that's what we
Taking
want
the
to know.
words right out of my mouth.
Is there any
strip
kind
naked,
of
you rub
a
yourself
sackcloth
with,
and
like,
ashes? What's happening?
Ketchup or something? What do you do?
I think, it depends on the project, but I think, when you're working with these characters and they're people in your head for so long, you develop a certain attachment to them. And so you get to know them, right? I mean, you create them in your head, and they have their own voices and opinions and feelings. And I mean, some of them you care for, some of them you hate. But
Are they with us right now?
Hopefully not.
I think you definitely go places you don't want to go when you're talking about hate. Once you start bringing up these subjects like hate, justice,
Yeah, and this one,
revenge.
there was a couple scenes in this one actually were particularly tough because we're dealing with South Carolina, and some of the antagonists in this are pretty racist bastards.
Yeah, what?
And so some of the language you're writing it, and you're like, ooh, that. You don't
But you have to,
right?
Which brings up the one of a movie similar that thought came to mind. Leonardo DiCaprio in Django.
Mm-hmm.
Holy moly! And I remember someone saying, as well as in 12 Years a Slave. Is that
Yep.
what
Mm-hmm.
that they people
Fassbender.
they had to
Amazing.
get really uncomfortably comfortable with using the N-word the way that they did, because that's what it was. You can't bounce around it because now you know better.
Yeah, it's
Right.
kind of tight.
Like,
these
even when
days.
I said nigga earlier, see, Dave gets upset. Look at him.
Yeah,
He's
because
shaking.
you talking to me, it kind of feeling comes up.
Hey, Dave, I'm one of you. Pipe down. Calm down. No, I'm saying if you say it as it relates to whatever it is that you're dealing with, the word now, because it is wrong, is just uncomfortable. So to write it and to know it has to be used, this has to be there. That's like a deep, that's like out of body.
Yeah, it's definitely it's a very emotionally and in many other ways charged word. At least for me, it carries that. I can't think off the top of my head of another word that carries that kind of weight and that carries that much hate behind it. Little tidbit for as far as us writing. When Steve wrote the script in one of the scenes. There's, they're all racists. Let's just get that out there.
A lot of
the whole town. Yeah. But there's one, one of the scenes. There's 4 guys in the script. The way Steve wrote it was, these 4 guys are in a pickup truck, and at one point they jump out and start doing things to one of the characters, and Steve could have colored up the language, he could have added all kinds of words, made it a paragraph. He was just like, pickup truck pulls up, assholes jump out. Period. End of story. Got the point across. And it was and that's one of those lines that was in the first draft and it made its way all the way to the end because that's exactly what it was. They were
How many drafts typically before a project gets to its filming? I mean, it just give me a rough.
Typically.
Yeah,
I've been at companies that I've seen them have literally, 20 some odd drafts.
Okay.
Between it.
Just rewriting that over and over and over, refining it and getting the best.
And the bigger the movie, the more writers they hire. So writer, 16 is writing 2 drafts, and then writer 17 is and sometimes it's just a couple pages here and there.
So hold on, Marla, because I want to before I lose my train of thought. Sandra in the chat room, as well as Hey Ray, they're both coming up with the same question. They're so interested and intrigued by the idea of Rightful, the movie. They want to know what time frame, when can they be expected, or when can they expect to see it in some form.
They
of
have
fashion.
to follow. You're not about to rush this project, honey bun, from the chat room. Not going to do it. You got to stay on it. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm not in. Nope, I'm not
that's
part
right.
of the team.
That's right. So right now we have 23 days left on the campaign that we have on Indiegogo, and then we're looking to start. We're looking to shoot early next year. So you should be, depending on how things go, you should be expecting it. Based on that schedule.
When he says, you should be expecting it.
Exactly. When we say go, you'll know about it. But yeah, follow us. We're online. Check us out on Indiegogo. We have all the social sites, and we'll make sure you stay informed. We update you. We'll keep you looped in, and
Well, I have
and for the record, right there in the chat room, the Indiegogo a link just popped up, so you guys can check that out.
Yeah, by all means,
it.
it's right there.
And what other social media information can you guys share?
Well, we're on Facebook, Rightful the Movie. We are on Twitter. We're on Instagram at Rightful Movie. You can follow the movie itself. You can also follow us. You can get our information off of the Indiegogo page, both our handles. But we're going to keep everybody updated. We're going to keep you looped in what's going on with the project as often as possible, especially once we start going into production. We'll be sending, pictures, news, all kinds of information right there from the set, and getting the cast and crew all on board. So, if you follow, you will be getting a lot of information.
I have a personal question. Mm-hmm. Since we're also a relationship show. Now, I know, Andre, you're married. Steven, you're not.
Correct.
Have you ever in your past had a relationship outside of your race? Have you dated outside your race?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. There you go. No,
you want deep? You want
no,
details?
no.
random questions from Marla.
No, the random question is because sometimes that's not the case, and it's curious because when I think about creating and writing, I think we also draw a lot from just experiencing people on whatever level. It doesn't even have to be someone that you've been intimately involved with, but it would be someone who was Caucasian who didn't have any black friends might be hard. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is it's interesting for me to know your personal diversity.
Right.
I'm asking this question, Dave, because it's the Marla and Dave show. This is Marla's head. Okay? Wait, Steve was about to talk about
go ahead.
I had a several-month-long relationship with a Latina lady. This was down in Texas a while back, and then some casual relationships.
How'd they work out for you?
It was fun till the end.
They always end. They don't end well, huh?
I think I was
It was
chased,
great
I was chased through a parking
until it
lot
ended.
and had water bottles thrown at me and stuff. It was an interesting night,
That's
but
bad. Oh, that's bad. Yeah.
I didn't do anything.
He's like, I was innocent.
By the girl?
Yeah, well, yeah.
You know, the Latinos,
Oh, Marla, go ahead. What are you about to say?
I'm saying
I want you
that-
to stereotype and generalize, please. Please do.
I'm gonna. Well, I mean, the rumor has it that that they're very hot-blooded. Hot-blooded, hot-headed, hot in...
Okay, Marla's on fire. Anyway, so let's actually...
Now, Dave, let's talk about stereotypes, though, for a second. You have to admit, we all represent something different here, ethnically. You have to admit that there are some stereotypes that's how stereotypes are made, because there's some truth to stereotypes.
sometimes...
We can generalize. There's always the outlier. But
let me say this, because even back in the day, during slavery times, part of the stereotype was always around that black people were lazy. You're a damn slave. You get beat for being lazy. There's no possible way a slave could be lazy.
No, Dave, don't say that.
That was actually
No,
impossible.
Dave,
Am I lying?
Have you?
Am I lying?
Have you watched?
It's impossible for a slave to be lazy.
Have you watched our families
dead. He
at the
wouldn't even be
holidays?
living.
When it's over, fall asleep.
Well,
All
now
you
that
need
you're
is a
no
good-
longer a slave.
All you need is a good tree,
that's
Dave.
another option.
It was there. I mean, if you have to not, if lazy is all about not being beat, what are you talking about?
Anyway,
Honestly, I don't think you can be lazy if the punishment is like 100 lashes.
yeah, there's no
And you're
way
9
you're
years
going to be
old.
What if
lazy.
you're me and you just take the spanking? You're just like, whatever, I'm tired.
You're also thinking of that perspective of like healthy people. I mean, the conditions that these people had to live through, and I mean, just the health and
Even right now, we say your energy is down if you don't eat the right foods. I
Right.
mean, if you're just eating junk all the time
Right.
and getting beat for being lazy,
living in
Today
horrible
we're lazy.
conditions. Yeah.
Oh, we're definitely lazy today. Today it's just all very, very sad.
Yeah,
So let me-
today you gotta pick your husband up from the airport. And
yeah,
get like,
and you just
5
sleep
in the
and you
morning?
sleep in bed
Uber.
I
instead.
gotta fight
Meanwhile, your husband's been
traffic.
working, and then he's got up,
Hold
slept
on.
for 2 hours,
this
and he's
ain't
still
happening.
going.
One
Anyway,
second. Let me remind Andre, this is the Marla and Dave show. Hi, I'm Marla. Yep, right here, Andre. So
So,
Steven's
wait.
coming back
Yeah, let me
to
I'll
deal
just
with
see myself
Rightful,
out
but
right now.
Andre,
let me steer
Security?
this back. Let me steer this back. Let me steer this back. With the options of different ways that you can raise money, I think that a lot of times traditionally when you write a script and you go out and you start looking for funding, you guys chose crowdsource funding. Specifically
Right.
Indiegogo. Why did you make that choice versus actually going around and trying to actually sell your script or your or a situation to an actual
studio.
producing studio?
So the answer is very simple. It's to get people involved, to do this with them. We don't want studios involved. We don't want, in the sense of, in terms of, if when studios get involved with something like this, it's like from the bat they want everything and they don't want to give anything. Whereas here, we'd rather take it out to people, to individual people, and give them the opportunity to be a part of something like this from the ground up. And it's all about the relationships with people. I mean, I think that's the main reason why we turned to Indiegogo, is just to
It's a great project that everybody
get
can
other
be
people.
involved in.
Yeah,
growing.
exactly.
I think that's super cool, especially like I
Absolutely.
said, when you're talking about having a design for something that is your baby. You don't want to give away your embryo before it can at least be born. That's my analogy.
We are
I'm
going
just
to
saying.
continue the discussion with Andre and Steve. It's a very, very interesting movie that you guys came up with. A great story, especially, and it still relates to the things that we're dealing with today.
Amazingly
Issues that
timely.
were hundreds of years ago still going on right now. So we're going to take a break now. We'll come back with more with Andre and Steve in just a minute.
It's time to play the Marla and Dave Love Game. Here are Marla and Dave to explain how it works.
Okay, the MaD Love Game is a game that was created by Marla and me. It has the 3 categories that we think
Is it Marla and me or is it Marla and myself?
Okay, I've been to that 1,000 times.
I know, I just
Steve
asked.
the writer, it is
Okay.
Marla and me. Because
Is
if
it-
I say it was created by I, that doesn't make sense. I
Okay.
say it was created
Hey,
by
hey.
See what I'm
Hey,
saying?
this
Anyway,
another stereotype.
so-
I'm just saying.
So the three categories are finance, communication, and sex. And it's played by rolling a single die. It has those categories on it. It also has the MaD logo. If it lands on the MaD logo, it's wild. You get to choose sex if you want to.
Poor Dave.
Or you can lose a turn. Now, I have to say this is some housekeeping. I usually keep the game with the rubber band on it. I was out of the studio last week, and Marla and the Ratchets got together along with Tangerine, and the game was all a mess. It's just floating over wild. The rubber band's gone. What, Marla, what?
You just said, Dave. Let me tell you something. I thought that one little soft song would calm the Ratchets. It's not true, Dave. They turned up. They went nuts.
That's what Ratchets do. They turn up.
They turned up big
So,
time.
as our tradition is, we allow our guest to roll the dice. We're going to start off with you, Andre. Please roll that die.
Just in the middle of the table. You can tell a lot about a man and how he
He
rolls the die.
rolled the MaD logo. He gets to choose sex.
No, you get to choose your category. He's trying to make you pick sex.
You said the other two categories are finance and
Finance and
communication?
communication,
Yeah.
yeah.
Shit, I'm going to go with sex.
Okay.
See?
See, that's what?
Spoken like a true man.
Okay.
Here we
it's
go.
the Marla and Dave show.
Let me see here. Do men prefer women to wear lingerie in bed? Let me tell you a little bit about first of all, that's the question, but the answers come from the PEW Research Center, the Pew Research Center, and there's always a further discussion point that's when it really becomes fun, especially when you're playing with a large group. Anyways, the question is, do men prefer women to wear lingerie in bed? Andre, what's your answer?
I'm going to go with yes, because men live in La La Land. They think, I think
Los
that's-
Angeles?
I think it's, what man wouldn't want is, the woman to wear lingerie in bed.
All right.
A lazy man who feels like lingerie is wasting his time.
Clearly
Get right
a lazy
to it.
slave, yeah. Hey, you don't got to put it. No, just
Okay,
joking.
you are out of control.
That doesn't mean they will do it. It's just what the man wants.
No,
That's
that is
his
the
preference.
question.
All right, Steve, what's your answer?
Well, personally, I like him in one of my own shirts. I don't know. why,
Nice.
right?
that's like
then
some
the shirt
country.
kinda smells
That's
good.
that's some Midwestern lingerie.
Steve-
That's actually lingerie in Omaha,
Steve-
by the way, Steve.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching this right now, Steve likes to dress them.
Cowboy boots and one of my shirts in bed is like the sexy lingerie in Lincoln,
How'd you
Nebraska.
get- Stop. How did you turn his simple request into cowboy boots?
I could have said
How are you
Stetson
adding
as
on to
well
his
to complete
fantasy?
the outfit.
Just a
I
flannel.
think
I mean, it could be a
trucker.
polo or
I think the
ruffle,
trucker
right?
hat, the
It's,
flannel.
Yeah, and he
And
did
some
say a
boots.
flannel, right?
Yeah.
He's like, as a matter of fact, I got a spare flannel right here. Who knew?
His and her flannels.
You mean this thing?
So ding, ding, ding.
I say yes.
Okay, the answer is 90% of men say they enjoy seeing women in
Because
lingerie.
men are
And the other
just-
10% are full of it.
And the other 10% are cold and naked at waiting on the
They just
flyway
got out
bus.
of prison and they just wanted to get straight to it. Here's the further discussion question. What is your favorite type of lingerie?
First of all,
Flannel shirts.
Steve just
somebody
said
in the
it.
chat room said,
I'm just kidding.
somebody
I'm
in the
just
chat room said Steve is undercover sexy. Oh, you're peeping out Steve up in this piece, right? Okay. All right, hit me up later. You know Steve's for
so
sale.
Andre, what do you think? What's your favorite article of lingerie?
My wife's.
Nice, nicely done.
Well done.
But what
Is she-
what
is
is
she-
she wearing
is she
a
in
teddy? Is she
She
wearing
watching?
like what is she
Is she
wearing?
watching? You don't want. That's his wife. You don't want him to. What?
I'm just the question was a little more specific.
Do you have a lingerie preference?
I don't. I think honestly, as long as it's on her, I don't think it's the
Nice.
clothes that make the woman. I think it's the woman that makes the clothes.
So if she chose that the lingerie was going to be Rasta pube and Afro puff, would you be good with that?
Yeah, we can make that happen.
Nice. So, well, Steve, you already said it's just one of the shirts.
Yeah, that or maybe a teddy. Simple though. Simple.
Okay. All right.
Dave, what about you?
I think I like it to rotate. Go take the
Okay.
gamut from
Like physically, like
I don't even know why I
you know,
even
just
asked
like
him.
every
Why
every
did I
night of the
ask
week
him?
it could be a different theme.
Steve,
you know?
why did I ask him? Why?
You know, that's actually my
Who
preference.
has
It goes
rotating
from
lingerie
like
preference?
thong one night and with like a teddy that stops kind of right above the thong.
Dave, you
The
make
next
me
day-
more and more wonder what are we doing together?
The next, you know, the kind of panties that kind of split, and
This
so
isn't happening.
I'm like, is he in the same
Oh,
bed
my
with me for the
goodness.
last 28 years?
all right. What? How much time do we have? Do you have time for another one?
Yeah, roll it.
Okay, let's.
Steve, roll that dice.
Steve, roll the die. You get to go.
Sex.
Sex again. We are on a roll,
Tight night.
ladies and gentlemen. I
Must be
should-
that dice must be
Yeah.
loaded with testosterone.
All right. Here's the question: which sexual position do most women prefer? We're actually tapping into your sexual IQ. Which sexual position do most women prefer? Andre.
Let's go with Steve. Why don't you take this one first?
All right, Steve, you did roll
I
the
don't know if
die.
I'm trying to. Should I go diplomatic or should I?
No, don't be diplomatic
No,
in the
you-
Marlon Dave
you're
show.
trying to
There's
get it
no censor
right.
here.
You're
There's
trying to
nothing
get it
about
right.
you that's
right?
diplomatic. I've known you for 20 years.
They already
be
have. They got
diplomatic
your
if you
number. They
tried.
already know you're low key sexy. So just go
right.
ahead and let it out.
Let's go with doggy. How's that?
Doggy style. All right, Andre. I know you're probably thinking of a way to kind of turn this back into whatever position she requires of me to actually penetrate at the most satisfactory.
Probably.
I was gonna say
He's trying to be PC on.
I don't want to simplify
on
it
fleek.
for you guys, but my guess would be penetrated. I don't know. That's what I'm thinking.
We're just playing, man. So,
stick it
well-
somewhere.
What do you think?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with Steve. I think it's. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to agree with Steve.
Doggy style.
Marla, what's your favorite position?
You know, Dave, I've often said before that, you know, and it's no secret for those who follow the Marlon Dave show, I think that I actually am guilty of having a penis fetish. So just whatever. Wherever, I mean, as long as we get to the deal. Whatever, as long as we
yeah. I was
as long-
getting
as long
nervous
as
there.
as long as we get to the deal, then it's all good.
Okay,
Yeah, you
well,
just, you know,
according to the
I
Pew
would,
Research
I would want to
Center,
be on top.
wow, according to the Pew Research
Yeah.
Center, most women prefer to be on top.
I'd like to have a little control.
They want to have the control. So there you go. That's the Mad Love game. You can buy
Riding
your,
it, I want to ride at my pace.
you can buy your version of the Mad Love game right there at www.marla and Dave in the Mad merch on the Mad merch page. We're going to get back to the show.
David is a thinker.
I never do anything without thinking about it first.
Marla is a feeler.
I basically wear my personality on my sleeve.
But when Marla and Dave get together, it's like a match dancing with a firecracker. This is the Marla and Dave radio show on the Universal Broadcast Network.
All right before we get back to the discussion, we're going to actually do some housekeeping and get to the poll question this week. The poll question was, which one of the, specifically because of the Ratchet show that we had last week when I was out of town, which one of the Love and Hip Hop Season 2 storylines seemed least authentic? They were just straight up fake. Your options were A, Miles, Milan, and Amber; B, Moniece, Fizz, and Nicki; C, Nia, Soulja Boy, and Nas; or D, Princess Ray and Tierra. And for a lot of us, you might just be like, what? Anyway, so ironically, people actually weighed in on this like crazy. There was probably the most that we've seen in a long time of anybody participating in a poll question. But overwhelmingly, Miles, Milan, and Amber actually 65% fake. 65% of the people said it was the least authentic. A close. Well, not close, but 20% said Moniece, Fizz, and Nicki. 15% said Nia, Soulja Boy, and Nas. And people seem to think the Princess Ray and Tierra was pretty much authentic.
Okay.
So there you have it.
All right. This week's poll question, remember you can vote www.marlaanddave.com right on the front of our website. The question this week is, if given the opportunity to seek revenge to settle past wrongs, which option would you choose? Hashtag peace, hashtag payback. Cast your vote.
And back to the show.
Can you handle the truth? This is modern American dialogue in a mad world from two unique, fresh, transparent perspectives. This is the Marla and Dave Radio Show.
Wow. Man, I always feel like that we cover so much ground. I know that there's a lot of people watching. I also got a phone call today. I know that Steven's family is in Kauai, so shout out to the island of Hawaii. I want to kill you guys today because I heard it's 85 degrees, but I can't get my hands on you, but eventually you know I will. I know all the flight times, and I know where everybody over there lives, so don't call us when it's 52 degrees
There's
here.
a bench at the Lahui Airport that's actually called Marla.
Except I wouldn't be complaining and whining about waiting on the Janaway.
No,
it's not a flyway.
No one
It's
actually
Janet.
complains in Hawaii, that's for sure.
Okay. Anyway, so we want to wrap up with Andre and Steven. Again, I want to remind everybody, Tony has up in the chat room the Indiegogo. Such a unique project. Go on, challenge yourselves. Where can they see that trailer, the snippet?
They can actually see it right there on Indiegogo.
So go to Indiegogo, check out the trailer, follow these guys, keep up with the movie, become a part of this project. I know I'm all in. So you'll be continuing as well to see updates through all of my pages. And our pages, the M&D Show, Marla Talks, Dave Take 6, Dave TK6
On Twitter.
Yeah.
Thanks, Marla.
Listen, you took so long we couldn't get TK6. See what happens when you don't just drive yourself to the airport. You have to wait. So anyway, at the end of the day, Stephen George on Facebook, at Stephen George.
Yeah.
On Twitter.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
All the way across the board.
Both.
At Stephen George. At Stephen George on Instagram.
All of it. Yep.
Why does our music start like this and yet we still have 5 more minutes and then end? What is that all about? I just want to talk to you right quick, just for fun. Like, it's every time I'm like rushing. We didn't have to rush through that. We have 5 more minutes.
That's because Marla doesn't read the document. It's just something that actually goes into this closing segment. So and then we have some more time to talk.
No,
I don't know why you were rushing as if the show was about to be over. Oh, Marla. Oh, yeah, no, this is the same thing we've been doing for 3 years.
I don't like it when David and Tony team up and they both go to, the smart lane at the same time on Marla. Anyway.
Everybody in the chat room was really saying that they really hope you guys actually knock this out sooner than later because it's such a compelling story. They can't wait to actually sit down and actually get a big thing of popcorn. And
do you know if you need anybody to do something like Michael Clark Duncan, Dave, even if it's just a nude cameo of Dave just walking by, like walking away, like a slow stroll, he's open for that. And because, as
long as it's not too cold, right?
Yeah.
It might if you want to be safe. Or somebody, if you need Marla, or because she's wearing almost the Jermaine hairline now for when he... Did you see that thing on Facebook where Jermaine Jackson, they had a thing of Jermaine Jackson.
I'm not smiling. I'm not.
And the Tin Man. And he almost looked exactly like
stupid.
Nipsey Russell.
Andre looked at me, and it's Andre this big, and he said, I'm not smiling.
Yeah. See,
I'm not even
Andre,
laughing.
I'm going to teach you how to, so you don't have to be so politically correct when you're talking about Troy. You can just do the Dave style. Just come right on out and do it.
What's the Dave style?
What's the Dave style?
Just be direct.
He's been pretty direct.
I don't
But
know.
he actually took the time
know.
to actually care about what his wife was wearing because he envisioned it. You went on a whole...
I'm sure that when Andre comes to town, he gets picked up at the airport. So
how often does Andre travel?
All right, so right quick,
let's talk about Andre like Andre's not here.
We have a phone call coming in for you guys. Go ahead, caller. You're on the line with Marla, Dave, Andre, and Steve. Hello.
Hey. Aloha from Kauai.
Aloha from Kauai. This
Kauai.
voice sounds familiar.
Is this Janet?
This is Hula.
Janet,
We're coming to the airport to get you.
Yeah, don't worry about it, buddy.
Nice.
I'm good on my bench. And it wasn't a good idea for you to call us at this particular moment after I just threatened to smack you guys for being in 85-degree weather.
Wait a minute.
I threatened that. Did you just hang up?
No, look at your screen. Oh, it's gone. Pop it back up. But so Janet, what's going on?
Well, hey, we're just here having a listening party, watching you guys online and listening to the show about Rightful.
Do you have a question about Rightful? Do you have a question or a
first of all,
comment?
who's the we?
I'm with Steve George's family here.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
What's up, guys?
So what do you guys, hi family, do you guys have, is there anything you want to say? First of all, let us just say that we appreciate, by birthright, you clearly have given Stephen, look at them. That's to me. I'm sorry, but
I don't know,
but
Janet, if you guys can see the actual thing on the picture on the screen yet, but the meme of Jermaine Jackson standing next to Nipsey Russell as the Tin Man, it's like that's pretty funny.
That's funny. Anyway, do you guys have anything that you want to ask about the movie? Do you have anything you want to say about these fine young gentlemen?
No, we just want to say thanks so much, and we're looking forward to seeing the film as soon as possible.
ASAP. You heard that, guys. Everybody's pretty excited about it,
Thanks,
and we want it definitely sooner rather than later. And now there's an added incentive because Dave's going to be doing his first nude cameo slave appearance.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to try to get in character. I'm gonna start going down to the village by the house, nude, just
walk
kinda being
around, just
comfortable.
stroll
Yeah,
around.
walk through the park. I might get picked up by the police. Do you guys have like
Ooh, I'd be
an
careful with
excuse?
that.
They have an excuse that I can say, it's okay, officers. I'm actually just
There's got to be a permit.
I'm
it's
filming.
like a card you can give me to say, yes, I'm a
I'm
professional nudist here.
You know what?
getting ready.
We'll get you a sidecar.
This is what you do, Dave. When the
I
police
actually have a sad card.
when
by
the
way.
police pick Dave
I
up,
can flash that. Thank you.
Just make sure you got that handy.
this is what you do. You say, "No, fellas, I don't think you get it. This is rightful." That's what you do, and they let you go.
Okay, I'll take all that into account.
So
I know
anyway-
you guys are proud of the guys here.
Yeah, definitely. We're excited for everything there is to come.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you very
guys.
much.
Thanks for calling us.
Thanks for
and-
listening and thanks for
and,
calling.
And thanks for birthing such a great guy. Mona.
Thank you, guys. Aloha from Kauai.
All right, aloha.
Aloha.
Thanks, guys.
So, fellas, everybody's excited. We have all of your information. Remember, you can find their information. You can always connect with this project through us.
And we're going to have all that information on our website starting tonight. So
And we also promise you that when this project is ready,
we will check in with them from time to time and then sort of almost have a debut party right
we
here
will
on the
have to
Marla
do
and Dave
that.
Show.
We'll do that for sure. Absolutely.
Hey, thank you guys very much for having us. It's been a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
actually.
No, you guys are great. It's called Rightful as the name of the movie. It's going to be coming to either a screen near you sooner or later.
One way or the other.
Pretty soon.
And
Thank you guys for coming to the Marla
Thanks
and
a
Dave
lot,
Show.
and we'll see you guys next time. Next week is MaD Monday. Only Dave and I always have something sparky to talk about.
It's the Marla and Dave Show. We're navigating the mad world of relationships.
From inside of ours. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.